Good evening. Welcome to the Maine Seacoast Mission Sunbeam Gala 2022. It's so wonderful to see all these nice friends here. I told Kiri and Erica that I would go strictly by the book so we would stay on schedule, and I'm already off because I'm just so smitten by seeing all our friends here and all these friendly faces. Welcome, settle in. If you have trouble finding your seat, raise your hand and Erica or Kiri or one of the Sunbeam Society folks will help you find your place. My name is John Zavodny. I am the president of the Maine Seacoast Mission, and welcome this evening. Hooray for the Maine Seacoast Mission. Thank you all for joining us here in this lovely spot to support the work of the mission. Celebrate 20 years of the EDGE program and honor two very special awardees. So if we were a drinking game kind of crowd, and I know we're not, but if we were, I would propose 20 years of EDGE as like one of the things, because you're going to hear a lot of it. So much to celebrate here. We're here to celebrate EDGE. Also, our two very special awardees, Les Coleman and our Downeast education partners. Since 1905, the Maine Seacoast Mission has supported the outer islands and coastal communities of Maine through education, healthcare, spiritual support, and community building. The mission currently operates from the new Coldcat Center, our beautiful headquarters in Northeast Harbor, Mission Downeast, our 63-acre campus in Washington County, and from our 74-foot ice-breaking boat, floating community center, and telemedicine clinic, the beloved Sunbeam 5. The Sunbeam is, of course, the namesake of the awards we will be presenting this evening. She is also the inspiration for the physical awards the awardees will receive tonight. Kiri, do you have one? Do you have one of the, so Kiri in the back Kiri is our marketing director. Yay for Kiri. Kiri worked with a local metal sculptor to design the award, and she's going to walk around a little. There's also one on the table, and you might have seen it as you came in here. But as you can see, they're also up here. As you can see, on a base of Downeast pink granite sits Sunbeam 5, representing the mission's lasting commitment to both island and Downeast coastal communities of Maine. A fitting tribute to the mission's century of education work, to 20 years of EDGE, and to our awardees tonight. Research and common sense tells us that students achieve better learning while young and better wellness outcomes throughout their lifetimes when they have positive childhood experiences, strong families, and healthy communities. Mission education programs in Washington and Hancock coastal communities work with schools and other partners to help give students what they need when they need it in a K through college sequence of programs. The EDGE program has grown in 20 years, to be the mission's signature youth development program Downeast, and now serves around 700 K through 8 students and their families each year. That's worth clapping for. 700 students and their families through after-school, summer camps, and leadership programs that include outdoor recreation, tutoring, STEM, as well as nourishment support and coaching for students and their families through our EDGE Family Engagement Program. Y'all know about EDGE. Journey is the next generation for the EDGE program. Journey is an exciting new program and the natural extension of the EDGE program for older middle school and high school students. Our Journey staff help students actively explore college, career, and credential opportunities through mentorship, experiential education, and learning excursions. For those for whom higher education is the right path, the mission has helped scholars realize thousands and thousands of college dreams through our mission scholarships since the program's beginning in 1917. And I know we have at least a couple mission scholars in the room. If you received a mission scholarship ever in your lifetime, raise your hand. I know we have a couple. I see a couple, right? Right? Thank you. Every time I talk about mission scholarship, somebody comes out and says, I was a mission scholar. I'm like, really? Oh, that's fabulous. In our latest scholarship program is the Davis Maine Scholarship. In partnership with Andrew Davis and the Shelby Cullum Davis Charitable Fund, the Davis Maine Scholarship makes available a full scholarship to a few well-prepared Downeast first-generation college students. The first 6 Davis scholars begin school in just a handful of days. Yeah. Thank you all for joining us tonight as we celebrate 100 years of mission education programs, our education partners and leaders, and especially the founding and the growth of the EDGE program. We're glad you're here. Thank you also to our year-long and Sunbeam Gala sponsors. So this is the audience participation part. If you're here tonight representing one of our sponsors, we'd love it if you'd stand or wave a hand as I call your company's name. Our copper sponsors tonight are Acadia Bike and Coastal Kayaking Tours, Billings Diesel and Marine Service, Birchbrook, Brookings Smith, Front Street Shipyard, J.T. Rossborough, and the Snowman Group. Thank you all. Our bronze sponsors tonight are Cross Insurance, Eaton Peabody, First National Bank, Goldman Sachs, and Maggie Cohan. Is Maggie here? I didn't get to see Maggie. There's Maggie. And for this evening, our platinum sponsors for the Maine Seacoast Mission Annual Gala are Bar Harbor Bank and Trust. There we go. And Wyman's of Maine. Thank you to all of you who support the work of the mission tonight and every day throughout the year. Now to the Sunbeam Awards. It is our privilege to have with us representatives from our 2 platinum sponsors. They have each agreed to talk a little about their company's approach to growing community and to introduce our awardee videos. First, I would like to invite Robert Mancini, Vice President and Chief Financial Officer of Wyman's of Maine, who is also a Mission Board member, to come to the podium to talk about Wyman's community building work and to introduce a short film celebrating Les Coleman.
Well, good evening, everyone. What a special night. It's great seeing everyone, especially without masks. You know, it's about time. So, again, welcome. As John said, my name is Bob Mancini, and I am the Chief Financial Officer of Wyman's. It is a pleasure to be here tonight, along with other colleagues from the Wyman's team, as well as several family members who have made the trip from Boston. My son Garrett, Caroline, Lindsay, thanks for being here. It always helps. Wyman's has been a corporate sponsor of the Maine Seacoast Mission for over 20 years, and we plan to continue that relationship and continue to support the various initiatives of the mission. We do so because at Wyman's, we deeply believe in the organization's purpose, its values, and its people. At Wyman's, we see the mission's impact firsthand across our backyard Downeast, in Washington County and Hancock counties. I've seen it personally as a Downeast resident of Steuben for the last 12 years, and I have seen it firsthand having the privilege of serving on the Board of Trustees over the last 6 years. Offering programs that have improved the lives of tens of thousands of Mainers by meeting people's immediate needs for food, clothing, heat, and adequate shelter. Offering those with limited financial means the support, resources, and education needed to overcome poverty. Ultimately, fostering healthy and strong communities, putting hope into action for over 100 years. Just a few of the many reasons why Wyman's continues to partner with the mission. When we support the Maine Seacoast mission, we are supporting Mainers in need. At Wyman's, we are committed to leading with our values, which at the forefront is to always do the right thing and to continuously seek a better way. I can't think of a better individual who exemplifies those values than Les Coleman, one of tonight's honorees for this year's Sunbeam Award. What you are about to watch is a short film on Les. Les served on the mission's Board of Trustees from 2006 to 2018 and touched numerous programs and operations from the Sunbeam to the Mission Downeast campus. He has been an instrumental figure in the development of EDGE, and most recently, we've had the pleasure of serving together in the investment committee. Les's commitment to young people is about more than education. He believes that it is through support and exposure to the greater world, including the world of Maine, that youth can aspire towards independence and serve their communities meaningfully. Congratulations, Les.
I met Les about 10 years ago through mutual friends in South Addison. I knew right away that he was a person of serious purpose. And the other thing about him that struck me was he was always working, even though I knew he was retired. And then I found out that he was involved in most every organization that was good organization for Washington County. He was treasurer of this, he was on the board of that, not just the Seacoast Mission. Here was a person who not merely believed in giving back, which he does quietly and generously with his resources, but believed in giving back with everything he had. It's another thing to have to take the vision and incubate it and nurture it and find a place for it, nestle it into another organization to make it grow and to make it function and make it real. And now we have EDGE. Les is one of those few people I can count on one hand who has a kind of quiet competence and confidence that allows him to be inspirational to other people. There's no declaring, there's no shouting, there's no overreacting. There's only quiet, clear competence through his quiet determination, sense of humor, expertise, and caring, sheer caring, made it happen. So that now we have EDGE in the center of programs that span from kindergarten to 12, grade 12, which involve leadership, enrichment, reinforcing, scholarship opportunities, and all of that is because of the shepherding of Les, among others, but mostly because of Les.
He wasn't connected with the mission at that point. We were forming a committee, what turns out to be an EDGE committee, and I'm not even sure EDGE was even named EDGE at that point, but I knew that he is very philanthropic and interested in the community. He's been coming there since he was a little boy. I told him this program, and he was very fond of Ed. And so I think that also being part of it, thinking of Ed and carrying on what Ed wished, was important to him. Les having the personality that we know. I mean, he's, when he puts his name to something, you know it's worthwhile.
I joined the board with the encouragement of Connie Greaves Bates. I had just retired and wanted to do something in Maine that I felt was important. Well, my involvement with EDGE over the period I was on the board and chair of what was called the EDGE Committee, I found it very interesting to watch people like Charlie Harrington and others, and to watch the parents begin to encourage their children to participate in EDGE and to support their participation. There's one time when I came up here in the summer and wanted to do something with the students that were here in the summer camp. And so I got a bicycle and I rode with them up and down this Sunrise Trail. And it was interesting to listen to their conversations about what was going on. And it gave me a different perspective. It's been a real enlightenment. And I've been able to see things I've never been exposed to before in my life.
Now I'd like to welcome Connie Greaves Bates to the stage. As you likely know, the name EDGE is short for Ed Greaves Education, named for Connie's late husband, the beloved former mission board chair and inspiration for the EDGE program. Welcome, Connie.
Actually, it was Ed who met Les and Joyce before I did. He was down on his dock looking at his new dock. And along comes this putt-putt engine, and it's Les and Joyce. And they say, "Hi, welcome to Addison and Eastern Harbor. We're Les and Joyce Coleman." Ed came up to the kitchen. He said, Connie, I met the nicest people. Les and Joyce Coleman live across the harbor. So they became our fast friends and have been through the years and will always be. I'm so proud of their accomplishments of each of Joyce and Les. After Ed died and we were setting up a committee of trying to figure out what we were going to do with the education in Downeast, Maine, the board had voted at actually Ed's last meeting to say that they wanted to do something significant in Downeast, Maine in an education way. And so I told that story to Les Coleman at a sailing club meeting, and I think I convinced him to join our committee, and I know I did. And because Les is bright, articulate, accomplished in the business world, he had all the attributes of helping us achieve what we were hoping to achieve. And he's been coming to Maine, to Addison Harbor, since he was a little boy. He and his family would drive from Michigan every summer and come there. So there's great dedication to Downeast, Maine. And I am ever grateful to you, Les, to Joyce, to your family, and to all of you here who care lovingly for what we have been able to accomplish for EDGE, because you've all contributed to it one way or another. Thank you.
Les Coleman, please come to the stage. While Les is coming here, I'll tell you a little story. So we knew we wanted to give Les the Sunbeam Award this year, and everyone said to a person, he'll never accept it. He's not that kind of guy. He doesn't want the attention. He will say no. And I said, I know how to get Les to accept it. And I called Connie, and I said, Connie, do you think you could talk Les into accepting a Sunbeam Award? And of course, she did.
I'm honored and privileged to be part of the mission's educational programs. My involvement with EDGE has been one of the most rewarding things I've ever done. When talking with people in Washington County, where we have seasonally resided for over 50 years, I'm often reminded by parents, grandparents, and former EDGE students who are now adults about the impact that EDGE has had on their lives and the lives of many other youth in Downeast, Maine. EDGE has improved the lives of many children who are now productive, good citizens of Downeast, Maine, and elsewhere, engaged in a wide range of endeavors, including traditional endeavors of the Maine coast, like lobster fishing. This all happens because of the insight and initial leadership of Ed Greaves, the substantial and generous support of Connie Greaves-Bates, and the mission leadership of Gary DeLong, Scott Planning, and now John Demotny, and 20 years of mission board of directors support, many generous donors, and a receptive and supportive local school leadership, which is represented here tonight, and also the dedicated and creative EDGE staff, many of whom are also here this evening, and particularly Charlie and Wendy Harrington. I am grateful I could work with and support such a great team. It's been a wonderful opportunity, and thank you to all of you here that have made this possible. Thank you.
So Les, I'm going to give you some advice that I'm going to give all the recipients tonight. Don't hold the award by the rigging. It's very heavy, and that rigging will come right loose. Congratulations, and thank you, Les. Thank you, Connie. Now I would like to invite David Woodside, Chairman of the Board of Directors, Bar Harbor Bank and Trust, to the stage. After which we will enjoy a short film about our Downeast education partners.
Good evening. I remember this podium, the one with the light that shines directly into your eyes. But I found my way up here anyway. So, as John said, my name is Dave Woodside. I'm the chairman of Bar Harbor Banking and Trust. 2022 marks the 135th anniversary of Bar Harbor Banking and Trust founding in Downeast, Maine. I haven't been there quite that long, but Maine Seacoast Mission shares a similar heritage beginning just after the turn of the century in 1905. For over 100 years, Bar Harbor Banking and Trust has proudly supported the vital work of the mission in the places we all call home. Bar Harbor Banking and Trust philanthropic efforts focus on education and workforce development. And what better organization to support with that goal in mind? In rural Hancock and Washington counties, the Seacoast Mission has done exceptional work in creating opportunities for all students to become active participants in their communities leading to higher aspirations. For the past 2 decades, Downeast Education Partners has worked with the mission to offer students and their families after-school education and scholarships. Their determination and dedication has resulted in tremendous growth in the number of students who have gained essential social and leadership skills. The value of their programming cannot perhaps be better expressed than by the words of 2 of our bank employees whose children participate in Downeast partner programs. From a mom who works in our Millbridge branch, I've noticed a lot of progress with my daughter's enthusiasm for learning life skills and growing as an individual. She loves to attend every day. From a dad who works in our Winter Harbor branch, my son loves it. We are fortunate to have the EDGE program associated with our elementary school. How much better can you personify that than by the words of these parents that live it day in and day out? Thank you to the Downeast Education Partners, honorees of this year's Sunbeam Award.
I think back over the last 20 years, EDGE has grown so much. The ideas, though, that we started with, the plan we started with, the model we started with is still embedded in the EDGE program. So as we've grown, we've still stayed linked to what had been the original goal and the original plan, that this program would be experiential, it would be for children, it would be for youth, it would be for families, parents, communities, and all together we were going to support children in their goal of reaching their aspirations, their dreams in school and beyond.
We always thought that the elementary schools were good, what we knew of it. But it was the future of what the progression, what happens. So many would go away, graduates, and that's not how you develop the communities.
It was January 2002. We didn't have a name. There was no name for the program. We had some wonderful funding, and we had a great organization in the Maine Seacoast Mission. And the other piece of it is I knew that there were no other buildings other than the schools. So we had to work with the schools.
Charlie Harrington came to one of our administrative team meetings asking if anyone would be interested in pursuing the idea of having an after-school program in our district. We'd had a long string of people coming around and promising us programs and different initiatives, a lot from the state level, that down here in Downeast, Washington County, we had grown very skeptical. Things would come, they'd stay a year or so and they would leave.
And the quote was, we have a lot of do-gooders who come and they're here for 3 years and then the money runs out and they go away. Oh, no, 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 but it's not going to be that way, we told them. That was Gary DeLong and myself meeting with them. And we're there for the long haul. And we told them we would raise monies. And we've lived up to it.
It brought programming to us that we really couldn't do in the regular school day. I mean, we partnered together to come up with curriculum that flowed from the in-school portion of the day to the after-school portion. EDGE started giving kids adventures and trust-building exercises and pushing their own comfort zones to places that we just weren't able to do in school. And then on top of that, the relationship that EDGE built with parents and students went beyond anything that we could do in school.
And that was big, to get everybody on board, to feel that that was an important effort.
The idea that this was something special for them in the community, the anticipation of what could be, and all of that really added to our excitement about working here and thinking about what if and what the possibilities were.
EDGE is not just some entity that's coming in and using our space after school. It's way more than that. It's a unique blend of school and after school. Many of the EDGE employees are our employees. Together we work towards a common goal, and together the product that we produce, I believe, is a much stronger student.
And now as EDGE and its allied programs have gone on and are now working with a lot more with the older students, we're now able to see how well those students can go on in their post-secondary education experiences at colleges and universities. And we now have children of EDGE students who are EDGE students, and that's just a reinforcing event.
It's a team effort, and when you have a successful program, everybody is playing their part, and we need each other, and the students benefit. It's a remarkable story and a successful story.
20 years, it's amazing. I'm really proud of the program, what has happened.
The first 20 years, we have built this program from that summer where we worked with 30 children to today when we work in a number of schools with hundreds of children.
The Seacoast Mission and Charlie Harrington said to us, as long as you want us, we'll be here. And I've got to say they've held true to that statement. Here we are 20 years later, we still want them and they're still here.
I would now like to call to the stage Gary DeLong, Maine Seacoast Mission Executive Director from 1999 to 2010. Gary worked directly with Connie, Ed, Les, Charlie, Ron, Wendy, and our Downeast education partners and the board to establish the EDGE program in 2002. Gary.
So 20 years ago, I cannot imagine a place I would rather be, or people I would rather be honoring tonight, than being in this place with these people, celebrating the very beginning. 20 years ago, all we really had going for us then was Ed Greaves' vision, his determination to make life better for some Downeast kids. What form that should take was completely up in the air. Of course, we had more than Ed. We had Connie, and we had a board full of amazing people. I would just like to take a second. I took a look at the Maine Seacoast Mission Board in 2002, and there are some of those characters here tonight. I'm just going to name the ones who are here. I'd love to read the whole list of every board every year because the board is so important to this process. But would you please stand and just remain standing for a second so we can give you a hand. Chad Warren Smith, Ruth Colquitt, Dennis Damon, Jill Goldthwaite, Connie Greaves, Tim Shefflin. Thank you. We had a long history of spiritual and financial support from individuals and churches, all deeply committed to the mission. But when it came to actually doing something truly substantial, truly transformative, truly life-changing, we knew we needed help. We needed a lot of help. We needed collaborators, the kind of people who are rare, the kind that really care, that aren't all ego, the kind who are willing to trust you to do what you say you will do. We needed the kind who will be your partner, the kind who, even if they sense that you really know less than you think you do, that they are truly trustworthy and they will invite you inside. They will take a chance. They will listen and learn and will expect you to do the same. And we did. We listened. Oh, how often we listened. We learned. We hired some amazing staff who we sensed were people who got it. This thing we were trying to describe, but really didn't know yet what it was or how much it would cost. But we were still listening and still learning, and we all started collaborating and partnering, and we produced The Edge, Ed Greaves Education. The mission is grateful to all of the creative and courageous educators, past and present, who have helped us make life better for some Downeast kids. And I am now pleased to call some of them forward. Please hold your applause until each of them have been recognized. Heidi Fairbanks, principal of Jonesport Elementary. Please come forward. Chris Crowley, principal of Beals Elementary. Sue Dow, principal Rose M. Gaffney School. Lorna Green, principal D.W. Merritt Elementary. Susan Meserve, principal Harrington Elementary. Derek Perkins, principal Cherryfield Elementary. Mary Ellen Day, principal Narragansett Junior Senior High School. J.T. Green, principal of Sumner Memorial High School. And Ron Ramsey, superintendent, MSAD 37, and mission board member. As they make their way, I just have to tell one quick story. I remember once being at a meeting, and I said, "Isn't Ron Ramsey supposed to be at this meeting?" I said, "Where is he?" And they said, "Oh, he'll be here. He shot a moose today." So you better shape up if you mess with Ron. Unable to be with us tonight are Michael Eastman, superintendent of RSU 24, and Carol Ann Licey, principal of Millbridge Elementary, Lewis Collins, superintendent of Moosebeck CSD and School Union 103, Scott Porter, superintendent of AS 96, and Daniel Ross, superintendent of Cherryfield School Department. Let's give him a hand.
I'd now like to welcome to the podium Ron Ramsey, early edge advocate and school partner, now superintendent of RSU 37 and member of the Mission Board of Directors, who will accept the award on behalf of our Downeast education partners.
Thank you. What an honor. First of all, I'd just like to thank you for allowing me to have this opportunity to accept this award on behalf of all the Downeast educational partners. It is a true honor. For those of you who may not know me, I'm Ronald Ramsey, as they just said, Superintendent of Schools, RSU 37. EDGE began in our district, in my school for that matter. I was the principal at Harrington Elementary School 20 years ago when EDGE began there. I have always said that I was blessed to be the right person in the right place at the right time to make the right decision to say yes to EDGE. How thankful that I am that we started this relationship all those years ago. When Charlie Harrington first approached our administrative team with the idea of EDGE, and you heard it on the video a few minutes ago, we were very, very skeptical, to say the least. We were all very veteran educators who had already participated in an endless stream of initiatives that had come, gotten us all excited, and left just as quickly as they had arrived. We did not want to see yet another failed program get our hopes up and then let us down as we left to never see them again. That was the cycle they were in, and that's what we feared. We feared that was the reality for those of us that lived in Downeast, Maine. There was a long history of people coming to offer help, giving hope, and then taking it away. Not true, however, of the Seacoast mission and EDGE as we grew to realize. Charlie promised us that EDGE would be in our schools for as long as we wanted them. And as I said earlier, we wanted them then, we still want them now, and they are still here. I have had the opportunity to serve and observe and participate in EDGE for all this time. I have watched my own children and countless others grow up and benefit from attending EDGE, after school programming, summer camps, trips to Boston, Charlie remember those, sleeping on the floor in churches, New York City, Washington, D.C., receiving EDGE scholarships, participated in haunting trails, family nights, and scholarship teas. I have watched EDGE students that have grown up and done great things with their lives, and ones that have come back to give back and work for EDGE. EDGE provided for us and still provides for us something that we as a school system just couldn't seem to produce. It's more than the resources, the money, or the staff. It's actually quite hard to explain, but it's a different perspective, a different feel, an attitude towards working towards the same goal but doing it in oh so many different ways. Something about the very nature of school doesn't allow us to entry into the area that EDGE so adaptly navigates with students and parents. School and EDGE are not the same. We are closely related, and I think we complement each other well, but what one lacks, the other can provide. EDGE is trusted 100% by our parents. And students, in a world today where trust and respect are in short supply, EDGE grows the seeds of success in our students. EDGE provides experiences and opportunities for success that gives our students the confidence to see their future selves being successful. They do this through building trust while constantly challenging and stretching the student's comfort zone. EDGE is the perfect complement to our regular school, expanding on and pushing past where we regularly go during the day. EDGE is about risk-taking and boundary pushing while being wrapped in a blanket of trust, respect, and comfort. EDGE has had a profound impact on our schools, on its students and their future. Having been with it from the beginning, I know dozens of examples of students that their success, their great success, can be directly traced back to their work with EDGE and the Seacoast mission. I've been honored to be a part of it, to support it, to have had the opportunity to have been that right person in the right place at the right time, to have said yes to EDGE and join into a 20-year plus journey together. On behalf of all the schools and school systems that have partnered with EDGE, I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you to Ed and Connie Greaves, to Les Coleman, Charlie and Wendy Harrington, Gary DeLong, Scott Planting, John Zavotsky, Isaac, mission directors, and countless others for having the vision, creating and maintaining the programming, and growing the impact and footprint of EDGE to what it is today. On behalf of all of that and all you do, we graciously accept this award. Thank you.
The EDGE program is truly a generational program now. It's in its 20th year. You heard acknowledgement that we actually have EDGE kids who are children of EDGE kids. And the latest generation of programming, I think, is important to acknowledge as well. I want to start with acknowledging Isaac Marnick. Where are you, Isaac? Isaac Marnick is the EDGE director now, and it really is a generational transition for Isaac. Isaac has done an amazing job. Isaac was one of Charlie's proteges and now runs the program. The other generational program I want to acknowledge is the new Downeast Exploration Fund started by Gigi and Jeff Oxman. If you don't know, Gigi wrote a wonderful book about 5 young women in Downeast, Maine. Charlie and Wendy are featured in the book, although they do not go by their real names. They are Manny and Lois in the book. If you read the book, Manny and Lois. Gigi and Jeff have worked with those 5 young women to set up a new exploration fund to help young people down east engage in enrichment activities that they wouldn't otherwise get to engage in. The final thing I wanted to say here, as we begin to close, well, I shouldn't say that because you're all going to get your hopes up. Sit tight. It's going to be another minute or so. I promise. We're almost there. I want to say congratulations and thank you to our 2022 Sunbeam Award recipients, Les Coleman, and our Downeast education partners. The awards are now awarded, and the videos are all watched. The talking is almost over, but the evening is only beginning. I would like to take a moment now to acknowledge one very special individual. I love this game, because now you're all like, oh, is it me? Maybe it's me. I'm special. Very special individual who was central to the establishment and the growth of the EDGE program. Okay, that rules out a few of us. And who is now very gently easing her way toward retirement from mission work. Wendy Harrington. Wendy Harrington, on this special evening of celebration, please accept these flowers from the mission in honor of the impact you have made on the mission, our young people, families, and communities in Downeast, Maine. Thank you, Erica Hutchinson, delivering the flowers on behalf of the mission. This is not your last opportunity to celebrate Wendy. When Wendy told me she wanted to begin to retire, Wendy is continuing on to coordinate our scholarship programs for the time being. When Wendy first told me she was ready to start to retire, I said, you know that we're going to celebrate you within an inch of your life, don't you? And she said, I would expect nothing less from you, John. So, you are all invited to join us at 3:30 p.m. on Sunday, August 28th at Will Bethel Community Center on the Mission's Downeast campus in Cherryfield as we celebrate Wendy Harrington during a very special Downeast Table of Plenty. But wait, there's more. And this is an opportunity, and I want to see if this is actually a thing where the young people, outpace us. We will continue to celebrate EDGE's 20th and Wendy's semi-retirement during an evening cruise on the Sunbeam, leaving out of Addison on September 1st. And the first folks who email Erica Hutchinson, our development director, E. Hutchinson, spelled just like it sounds, at seacoastmission.org with the code word Wendy Celebration Cruise will get boarding passes for that special evening. First come, first served. Before we break bread together tonight, I want to thank our Sunbeam Society volunteers and our staff who made tonight possible. Stand up, Sunbeam Society. You know who you are. After dinner and dessert, make sure to grab one of the sweet and lovely gift bags our Sunbeam Society lovingly have prepared just for you. And yes, the word sweet is a little hint as to what may be in those bags. Very special mission cookies. Thank you, Jenny Jones. Thank you to all mission board and former board members for your wisdom and leadership. Please stand or raise your hand. Board and former board, please, let's acknowledge them. People don't always think of board members as volunteers. These are super volunteers is what our board members are. Thank you so much for your wisdom and leadership. As with many Maine Seacoast Mission programs, tonight is an opportunity to break bread, strengthen friendship, and grow community. In the spirit of mission friendship, I will ask Douglas Coleman, the Sunbeam chaplain and outreach director, to say grace before our meal together. Then after dinner, but before dessert, we will hear a few closing remarks from our board chair, Dan McKay. Douglas, please.
I invite you to join me in prayer. Astonishing God of love, peace, and grace, God of patience and compassion, God of sunbeams and moonbeams, of ocean tides and rocky shores, you have held and preserved us for many years as one small facet of your holy mission. As we gather to honor the past, live in the present, and look forward toward a future that only you can know, help us remember that you are always with us. Immaculate lover of all things, we ask your blessing on those whose hands prepared this evening's festivities. Blessings on those who labored, who are laboring and will labor so that we can partake. We ask these things and all the cares of our hearts in your most holy and precious name. Amen.
Much anticipated closing remarks. For those who don't know me, I am Dan McKay. I'm the current chair of the board of directors of the Maine Seacoast Mission. And I'd like to add my welcome to all of you and thank you for attending this evening. As perhaps a few of you might recall from last year, I spoke a bit earlier in the program, and I observed that I usually like to begin these kinds of remarks with an amusing anecdote, but last year I realized I didn't have an amusing anecdote, and so I was reduced to borrowing one from my good friend Scott Planting. So when John Zavodny was mapping out the program for tonight's event, not being anybody's fool, I think he came to my part of the program and he thought to himself, well, that guy doesn't have any amusing anecdotes. So I think we better put him at the end of the program. So here I am as the only thing between you and dessert. So I'll try to be brief, but I am reminded of one. This is a digression, but it will be a short one. I am reminded of one old story that many of you may have heard about the prominent citizen in a small Maine town, and there was a contentious issue in town about which this fellow felt quite strongly, and there was going to be a special town meeting. And so he had prepared some remarks that he wanted to deliver to his fellow townspeople. So on the evening of the special town meeting, he arrives, the place is packed, and the meeting starts, and it goes on, and it gets later and later. And finally, toward the end of the evening, it's his turn to take the stage and make his speech. So he gets up and he begins his speech, and he goes on, and on, and on, and eventually people start trickling out of the auditorium, first one by one, then two by two, then row by row, and finally, by the time the guy is finished, there's only one person left in the middle of the front row. So the speaker winds up his speech finally. He looks down at the fellow in the front row and he says, "Sir, I am honored that you heard me out. May I ask why?" To which the fellow in the front row replied, "I had to. I'm the next speaker." So anyway, when I get to the boring part of the speech, I promise to be brief. So I really do want to begin by just adding my congratulations to this year's awardees, much deserved, Les Coleman and the Downeast Education Partners. Those were wonderful videos, I thought, and really gave everyone a sense of what the organization really is all about. I also want to extend thanks on behalf of the entire board of directors to John and the mission staff for their hard work and dedication. They're the laboring oars that enable the mission to do its work, and without them, the work stops. I also want to thank all of the mission staff and volunteers who were involved in preparing tonight's event. That's not a simple thing to put together, and I think we owe them a round of applause. And finally, I want to thank the Mission Board of Directors for their work and support. As John indicated, it's a volunteer board, but it's a participatory board of people who are really committed to the work that the mission does. And we appreciate all that they do, and I personally appreciate it. And I also want to include in that our core of former directors, Les Coleman included, whom John mentioned, I think, earlier in the evening. I want to thank them in particular for their stick-to-itiveness in staying involved with the work of the mission even beyond the end of their board terms. Speaking of stick-to-itiveness, there might have been a few of you who were still listening to me last year when I spoke of the mission's stick-to-itiveness. That is our value that once a program is undertaken, we stay with it. The Sunbeam is perhaps the most visible example of that trait, but there are others, and our Downeast programs, now 20 years old and counting, are also examples. I want to say that stick-to-itiveness is an important value of the mission, but stick-to-itiveness without the ability to innovate and to adapt can all too often slide into stagnation. In celebrating our Downeast programming this evening, we reflect on the ability of the mission and its partners, exemplified by tonight's award recipients, to not only stick with our programs over an extended period of time, but to innovate and adapt in ways that allow those programs to flourish. That ability to innovate and adapt has been an important ingredient in our success, but we know that there of course, is one more key ingredient, and that is the support provided by all of you. Without your financial support, the innovation, the adaptation, the very work of the mission grinds to a halt. I think we could all agree that all of us sitting around these tables this evening have been really blessed with extraordinary good fortune. But we know that many of our neighbors in this region have not been so blessed. They face everyday challenges in their lives that are difficult for us really to even comprehend, whether it's a struggling single mother or a promising high school student trying to figure out how to pay to become the first in her family to attend college, or an aging island family struggling to maintain its way of life. It's the mission that holds out a hand of friendship and support. And that support, in the end, depends on you and I. And so I hope you all will find it in your hearts tonight to share just a bit of your good fortune so the work of the mission can continue. And with that in mind, when you exit tonight, you will receive a hospitality bag, and in it you will find an envelope just like this one. And I hope Each of you will do what I'm going to do, which is to write a check and put it in the envelope. And you can either leave that envelope in a basket, which will be just outside the door as you exit, or you can feel free to mail it back, all self-addressed, to the Seacoast Mission, or you can donate online at seacoastmission.org. So, with that, I will conclude. Thanks to each of you for coming this evening, for your ongoing support of the mission. We truly appreciate and value each and every one of you. Enjoy your dessert.